My job is to make sure that you are educated and know what your hair needs, and you're not just out here buying stuff just because it's in a pretty package. Now, tonight, again, is all about diving into hair health and figuring out what we need to do to get on the path to happy, healthy hair, right? Because I know sometimes it can feel overwhelming or even frustrating. Trust me, I get it. When it comes to hair health, I've heard so many stories. I have stories of my own. Now, if you're new here, my name is Kendra. I'm the founder of 180 Hair, and I help women over the age of 40 to transform their hair health with natural, holistic solutions. Okay, so that means we look at the whole picture when it comes to hair health, when it comes to hair loss, when it comes to hair growth. So to kick things off, let's do a little hair assessment. All right, so these questions are just to help me to understand where you are and what might be the best way to move forward for you. And this is going to help you as well. Okay, I get a lot of questions in the comments of my videos, and a lot of the questions are asking the same thing. What do you recommend for thinning? My hair is growing slow, my hair is thinning, my hair is falling out. What do I do? Okay, those are I love the questions, but they are very general. So we want to try to get a little bit more specific because it helps me to understand how to answer that question, first of all, and then it helps me to know where you are in your hair care journey. But most of what I see is people dealing with hair loss and thinning and wanting to know what they can do. And majority of my customers are over the age of 40. So as we know, once we get to that age, things start to change in our body, okay, including our hair. So first of all, let's talk about mindset. All right. So I deal with hair loss from a different perspective than most people. We look at, again, like I said, we do a holistic approach. So we look at your mindset, your habits, your nutrition, and stress management. These four things are super important because all of these things can affect your hair health and your hair growth. Now, let's talk about where we are mentally with our hair journey. I'm going to ask you 3 questions around mindset. You can answer these questions in the comments, or you can just take a mental note. So, how do you feel about your current hair health? What are your main goals? Okay. That is question number 1 around mindset. So, your goals can be anything. I don't care. I just want you to have a goal. I want my hair, it could be, I want my thickness back. I want my hair to be thicker, or I'm dealing with shedding. I need to know how to deal with shedding, or even I just want to understand my hair better. Or I want to understand how to use products or what products I should use. Okay. So I'm going to move on to question 2. We're still under mindset. And that is, are you committed to trying new methods, even if results take time? This is where I see a lot of people get tripped up on their hair health journey, is because they want instant results. And most of the time, if you are dealing with severe hair loss, or if you're dealing with hair loss that happened over a long period of time from doing a lot of poor hair health, poor hair habits, is going to take longer. Okay. And I feel like many of the people that have tried products and keep trying product after product is because they are not seeing results quickly. So I know sticking to something can be tough, right? Especially if it takes a while to see progress. You have to be open with experimenting a bit and giving things time to work. Okay. That's one thing I would try to drive home, is that hair care is not universal. One thing that works for me will not work for the next person, and vice versa. Okay. And then the third question, we're still under mindset. Do you have any fears or doubts when it comes to improving your hair health? Now, the reason I ask this is because sometimes our past disappointments, okay, can leave us feeling skeptical. So when I first started my company, when I was really just focusing on selling hair growth products, there was a lot of skepticism. And now I really understand why. And that's because of past disappointments. So it's kind of like, when you're if you've been in a lot of bad relationships, right? And then you finally meet someone that might be the right person for you, but you don't trust them. You're skeptical because of all of those past bad situations that you've had. it was very much so like that. I was like, why are y'all putting all this stress on me? I didn't do this. I didn't create this drama, right? But the people had a lot of worries. I mean, a lot of my customers or potential customers had a lot of worries that held them back from committing. And a lot of the worries was their money. Okay, I don't want to waste no more money. I already spent enough money. I'm on a fixed income. These products are too expensive. Stuff said it was supposed to work and it doesn't work. So I get that. But we got to get past that. Okay, we got to get past that. And if money is the issue, maybe we should set a budget. This is going to be my budget for hair care for the month, for the week, or whatever. Once I reach that, that's it. You know, we'll do it again the following month. But you have to understand that it is going to take time, and that we have to do a better job of vetting companies before we purchase from them. Okay. So I'm going to go to the comments. Ms. Diane says, my goal is to work on thickening my hair. Okay. And that's great. One goal at a time. I tell people, you know, one goal at a time. Some people come out the gate, baby, and they want to do 16 different things to their hair. And I'm like, girl, you got to focus on one thing first. All right. So thickening your hair is a great goal. Okay. One thing that we would focus on is trying to, when people say thicker hair, I look at thickening hair as two different things. So are we talking about the diameter of your hair, so each hair strand is thinner, or are you saying your hair needs to be thicker because you can see through your scalp? You can see through your hair to your scalp. So you're talking about density, or the number of hairs you have on your head, or that your strands are thinner. Both of those things can happen as we age. The actual losing our hair can cause our overall hair to look thinner. We have less hairs on our head, or as our follicles shrink, when the hair grows from it, the hair grows thinner. So think about the diameter or the thickness of a strand of thread, and then the diameter or the thickness of a strand of yarn. Okay. One is very thin, one is thicker, right? So that's kind of how I would help to understand what it is when you say thicken your hair. All right. Because are we talking that we need a volumizing shampoo, something to make your strands look fuller? Or are we needing something to try to regrow or reawaken dead follicles, or follicles that are asleep and not producing hair? Okay. So that's how I would start with your thickening your hair goal. We still have to kind of drill that down so I understand what you mean by that. So as far as mindset, when we reflect on how we feel about our hair, whether you're hopeful or you're frustrated, it just gives us a chance to see how we may be self-sabotaging ourselves. If we realize, for example, that we're discouraged, we can start focusing on positivity and consistency. All right. And then your commitment. We think about how willing are you to try new methods? Okay. Because my methods are not the same as most people. Most companies are just going to shove a product down your throat, tell you all the things you're doing wrong, all of your all of your habits are wrong, and I really want to try to get to the bottom of, like, okay, where did this come from? Where did this start? Who did it? Why did they do it? Right? And let's try to move forward from there. So I ask a lot of questions, and I think that's important. So the next thing, again, like I said, is habits. Now, when we dig into habits, a lot of times it's not that we're doing the entire hair routine wrong. It's sometimes I find if we make small tweaks, it can make a big difference. One question that I would ask, and again, you can answer these questions in the comments or just answer them to yourself. Okay. It doesn't matter. I want you to get to thinking a little bit different about how you think about your hair. So I would ask the question, walk me through your typical hair care routine. How often do you shampoo and condition your hair? How often do you style your hair? So don't worry about answering the question with a right answer or a perfect routine answer. I'm not looking for that. I don't care about that. I just want to know what your typical wash day looks like, what your typical styling, how you're styled, what does that look like? What do you do? What exactly are you doing? Are you doing nothing most days? Are you doing the bare minimum? Like, these are the things that I would like to know regarding your habits. Okay. So the next question I would ask about habits would be around protective styling. How often do you do protective styles? What type of protective styles do you do? How frequent do you do protective styles? And how often do you leave these protective styles in your head? Let me know if you love protective styles and how often you wear them. I'm curious because I wear protective styles often. I'm not going to say my hair is not important because it is, but I like to know that my hair is in a style that's being protected so that I'm not manipulating it. I'm not putting my hands in it a lot. I'm not putting a lot of product. I'm not slathering my scalp and my hair with stuff all the time. My hair personally does not do well with a lot of products in it. Some people are okay with that, but mine is like, no, ma'am. You put some hydration. My hair needs water and a little bit of oil. That is it. That is all. Ms. Diane says, I wash my hair weekly. And that's great. Okay. Some people say that they go weeks without shampooing or washing their hair. If that's working for you and you're not having any issues, great. I recommend washing your hair more frequently if you use a lot of products. If you're one of those type of people that oils your scalp daily or uses products all the time, then you probably should shampoo and condition your hair more often. Because of course what happens is when things in the environment, things in the air, dust particles, your dead skin cells, dead scalp cells, all of that stuff starts to accumulate in your hair and scalp. If you're using products that you're allergic to or you have reactions, that stuff can cause contact dermatitis, which once you have it, it's really hard to get rid of it. That causes itching and irritation. So there's a lot of reasons to keep your hair and scalp clean regularly, especially if you're dealing with hair loss and thinning, because all of those things that I just stated can contribute to that. Okay. Ms. Diane said, I had braids for the first time and I kept them for 7 weeks. I like the convenience of not doing my hair. Not sure if I will get them again. Okay. So why wouldn't you get them again? And 7 weeks is a good amount of time. I usually say a month and a half, 2 months tops. And she says, I oil my scalp every other day, which is why I wash my hair. Then that's great. Okay. That's a good reason to wash your hair weekly if you are using an oil, especially if it's a thicker oil. If it's an oil like castor oil or olive oil, those are stickier oils. So those oils can stick to your scalp. They can clog your follicles. And again, oil attracts dirt. All right. Oil attracts dirt. So the more oil and stuff you have built up on your scalp, you're going to attract more dirt to your scalp. Remember, dust particles you can't always see with the naked eye. So, you could probably have, especially if you have pets, all the stuff. Okay. If you live in an area that's dusty, that stuff is getting in your scalp and it can clog your pores, clog your follicles. All right. Another question I would ask is, are there any particular products that you use regularly, like oils, serums, or treatments? And then I would ask, how often do you massage your scalp or use techniques to stimulate blood flow? This is something that a lot of us overlook. I talk about the scalp more than I talk about anything else. Scalp massages is for scalp stimulation, and this is great for hair health. All right. I would recommend that you get in the habit of doing scalp massages. All right. Especially if you are dealing with thinning. We want to increase the blood flow to the scalp. We want to get the nutrients to the follicles so the follicles can have what they need in order to grow healthy. And then, of course, we'll get to nutrition, but that's going to be also important for doing scalp massages. Okay. So Ms. Diane says, when I removed the braids, there was a lot of hair shedding. So let me explain something as far as that goes. All right. So one thing that I tell people when they get braids and they take their braids out, or any protective style, braids, twists, whatever, remember that normally your hair sheds 50 to 100 strands per day. Okay. When you are combing your hair daily or even a few times a week, you see 50 strands of hair is not a lot. It doesn't look like a lot in your comb or your brush. You probably don't even really notice, okay? Now, if you do that, if you are combing your hair weekly or every other day, you'll see those strands and it's normal, okay? Because your hair sheds normally. That is a natural part of your hair growth cycle, is the shedding phase, where the dead hairs or the hairs that have completed the cycle shed. That means they break off, all right? Now, if you have your hair in a braided style or in a protective style, those hairs are still shedding. Just because you have your hair up in braids doesn't mean that the hair growth cycle just stops. All right. It doesn't mean that the hair growth cycle is just in the growing. It is still in the growth phase, the resting phase, and the shedding phase, even with your braids. So when you have your hair up for 7 weeks, each day your hair is still shedding that same amount of hairs. So after 7 weeks, that's all of those hairs have still shed, and you take your braids out and it looks like you got a crap load of hair that has fallen out. When in most cases, that's normal. Okay, the amount of hair that you see after you take your braids out is typically normal. Now, if you notice that you have thinner hair, as far as like you see balding, thinner spots, balder spots, areas where your hairline, especially around your edges, are thinner, that's where you have a problem. Ms. Diane says, I need to be more consistent with scalp massages. I only do them once in a while. Yes, we all do, and me too. I would recommend, like, when you oil your scalp, do a scalp massage, and 5 minutes, right? You can do a scalp massage while you're in the shower. So the reason that I ask about hair habits is because we're looking for inconsistencies. That's it. I just want you all to be more consistent. It doesn't even really matter the product that you use. If you feel like the product is working or you like the product, I just want you to be consistent in how you use it, all right? And you are using it properly, all right? So that's the consistency. Product usage. So if you have go-to products that you love, I just want to know, like, what products you're using to see if they are actually nurturing your hair. Because the thing that we know about products is that they don't always have in them what they say they have in them. Okay, those ingredient labels can tend to be very tricky, and if you don't know how to read them, or you are not familiar with ingredients or product formulation, you may think that you are using something that's really probably not even a 0.01% that's in. It may just be one drop, okay? So we just have to look at that and understand what you are using. So the next thing is nutrition. Good old nutrition. This is the one that people don't like to talk about, that we typically shy away from, okay? We have to look at what's going on the inside, because as you know, if you have been following me or reading my content or my videos for any amount of time, 2 things I talk about. One is scalp health and the other is nutrition. Healthy hair starts from within. Okay, so a question that I would ask if I were assessing your hair thinning or your hair loss and asking questions, one I would ask regarding nutrition is, what are you eating? What is your daily diet typically look like? Do you focus on nutrient-dense food? Are you eating foods packed with vitamins and minerals? Okay. This could be an area that you could use a little guidance. All right. Another question I would ask is, are you taking vitamins or supplements? If so, which ones? Now, this one, I cringe, because a lot of times we go into the Walmart. Oh, I should have said that. We go into the grocery store or the drugstore, and we just grab whatever we see, right? But we have to be careful. Shopping on different places for supplements, we have to be careful, because we're usually not getting what we think we're getting, especially with biotin. I know a lot of people use biotin, but for one, we are normally not biotin deficient, and there is biotin in so much of the foods that we eat normally that we don't necessarily need to supplement with biotin. But I would ask if you are getting enough biotin in the foods that you eat. Are you getting enough vitamin D? If you're getting enough iron, okay? These all play a huge role in hair health. So if you're taking any supplements, let me know in the comments. All right. And then last but not least, when it comes to nutrition, is hydration. I try to drink a half gallon of water every day. I do work out pretty consistently about 5 days a week. So I have to stay hydrated. Do I drink a half gallon of water every single day consistently? I do not. I'm already behind today, and it's 8:30 where I am. It's 8:30 p.m. But that's one thing I would ask is, are you staying hydrated? Are you drinking enough water every day? Because water is very easy to forget. But hydration is the key for both hair and scalp health. And it's, of course, for your body, and all your major organs need water. Okay? If you have a problem remembering to drink your water, download an app. There are so many water and hydration apps on the App Store, on the Google Play Store, that will remind you to drink. It will help you track. Okay? Looking at your diet and water intake might reveal some gaps. So those would be questions that I would ask. Okay, you can just make simple changes to your water. If you don't like to drink water, girl, add some lemons to it. This is like a lemon flavored. What is this? It's too dark over here. I think it's like a lemon flavor. I mean, it's not sweet, but it has some flavor to it. Add some cucumbers, add some lemons, add some mint. Anything that any fruit flavor, oranges, whatever fruit flavor that you like, cucumber helps to give the water a little bit more flavor. It makes it fun to drink. It makes it interesting. If you could, like, when you making it, you put your fruit in it and it's colorful, it makes you want to drink, because we eat with our eyes first. We eat and drink with our eyes first. Okay. So nobody wants to drink a boring glass of lukewarm water or room temperature water. But if you got some cold water with some cute little fruits in it, that makes you want to drink more of it, right? So let's move on. Last but not least, stress management. Good old stress. So some questions that I would ask if I were assessing your hair loss and thinning, or trying to understand where there are gaps. How would you describe your stress levels on an average day? Okay. We all have our moments. I know that. We just had a presidential election, so we're probably under a lot more stress than normal, right? But understanding your stress and how it shows up in your day-to-day helps us both to get a sense of where your stress level is on most days. Because as we know, stress can affect your hair health. It can affect your growth cycle. It can throw your hair cycle into the resting or the shedding phase a lot sooner than normal. And a lot of times when it comes to stress, we don't see the effects of hair loss until after the stressful event. Okay, so it doesn't always happen at the time of the stress. Sometimes it's weeks later, months later, and then, our hair growth cycle goes crazy. So I would definitely ask that. And then if you are under a lot of stress, I would ask, do you have any stress relief practices? What do you do to relieve stress? Because stress is not usually avoidable for most people. I mean, it happens. So do you meditate? Do you exercise? Do you do deep breathing? Do you do grounding? Do you pray? Do you worship? Do you listen to music? Do you get that negative energy out of how do you get that negative energy out of your body? Because stress is negative energy. How do you release that? What do you do? Do you scream? Do you punch something? Do you punch somebody? I don't know. I would like to know, what do you do? For me, it's exercise. That is a big part of my stress relief, is just exercising. Going for walks, going for runs. I still do running every now and then, not as aggressively as I was when I was training, but I still try to keep that up, from time to time. Being outside helps. Some people like to be in nature. That's very calming for many people. So I would ask that if you're under a lot of stress, what are you doing? You're not just walking around stressing, or you're going to explode. You're going to make yourself sick. So you have to have a way to relieve that stress. And then I would ask, during stressful times, are you noticing more hair loss? Okay. Because stress related shedding is real and it's often temporary. But if you notice times when your hair seems to shed more, I would like to know. Do you have a glass of wine when you're stressed? Sometimes I have a drink, okay? Sometimes when I'm stressed at the end of the day, at the end of the week, girl, I'm gonna have me a little drink. Not a glass of wine either. A grown-up cocktail. I'm gonna have me a nice little adult cocktail. So there's that. All right. Miss Diane, she says, I walk, I meditate, I pray, I change my surroundings when possible. That is great. Getting up and walking away. If you are in a stressful environment or having a stressful conversation or somebody at your job is stressing you out, sometimes it's just best to change your surroundings. Get up and walk away. Okay. Go for a drive in your car. Like, reconfigure your surroundings, change something. All right. So that's great. And then she says, I love walking in the park. I do too. I love going to like the walking trail near my area. There's a river that kind of flows all the way through it. And when we've got some good rain and stuff like that, it's awesome. All right. I love doing that as well. When the water is flowing and the ducks and the birds and nature is just doing its thing. Yes, I love to be outside. Now, remember, recognizing stress levels at times and times of increased shedding can be eye-opening. So we like to make the link between your level of stress and your level of hair loss. All right. So once we connect these things and see how we're managing stress, these all can be beneficial to our hair health. Now, if you realize that you are under stress and you're not doing anything to release it, we need to make some small changes. Okay. Even if it's just taking a few minutes to breathe, take some deep breaths, that might help. You have to understand what works for you. That stress is just going to raise those cortisol levels. And cortisol is what the body releases during fight or flight. Okay, cortisol is fine if it's needed. If you are in a situation where you need to be able to run fast or think quickly or react in a certain way, you want your body to release cortisol. But you don't want your body to be releasing cortisol every single day. Okay, that is not healthy. That can do a lot worse things for your body than just cause your hair to fall out. So remember that. Now, again, all the questions that I asked are basically how I assess your hair loss or your thinning issues. Okay. So when people come and ask those questions, those are the questions that I ask. If people tell me that they're having these issues, those are some of the questions that I ask. So whether it's your mindset, your habits, your diet, or how you're managing stress, we have to find a balance that works for you. Okay. Using products is great. I don't want y'all to ever think I'm telling you not to use products. If you are in the store or you're online and you see something that you think will work great for you, then go for it. My job is to make sure that you are educated and know what your hair needs. And you're not just out here buying stuff just because it's in a pretty package. You're not out here buying stuff without checking the labels to see what's in the ingredients or what the ingredients are. Okay. You're not just buying supplements because you think that you need to be taking hair, skin, and nails gummy. Okay. No, we're not doing that. Y'all are going to be educated consumers. Okay. Messing around with me. You're not going to be able to be duped by anybody selling you, false promises in pretty packages. If you are, then you have not been following me long enough. You need to get this content. You need to be on these lives every week. You need to be on these lives. Okay. You need to be investing some time in educating yourself about hair and scalp health. Okay. And I say that with love, but I'm also saying it like that. Okay. So again, thank you all so much for being here. Remember, every small step that you take, whether it's adjusting a habit, adjusting what you eat. Okay. I could go another 30 minutes talking about diet. And it's also about finding moments where you can relax. All these things make a huge difference in your hair journey. I just want you to build healthy hair. one small step at a time. You are not alone. We are in this together. It is not going to be an overnight process, but I promise you, if you just stay patient and if you just stay consistent, you will start to see results. Now, if you are feeling inspired to take your hair health to the next level, don't forget to check out the 180 Botanical Kit. Okay, this kit is all about you making your own DIY treatments at home. This is part of you educating yourself on ingredients and how to make simple things at home that don't require a lot of different things to make. So in this kit, you're going to get 3 different herbs. Okay, these are 2 of my favorite herbs, and then one that I use all of these herbs in the products that I make for 180 hair products. Okay. All of these herbs are in the products that I use, so I'm very familiar with all of them. Okay, and you're going to get the 3 herbs. Like I said, you're going to get an empty spray bottle. You're going to get an empty flip top bottle for your oil infusions. You're going to get a little jar if you wanted to make something in the jar. The most important thing in here, you're going to get some blank labels so that you can label all of your projects. You get a small sample of rosemary essential oil. Okay, this is a great oil for hair and scalp health. Rosemary oil is one of the oils that really helps to open that follicle head to get the products down into it, get the hair growing. Okay, rosemary oil is actually also very close to minoxidil. And it also comes with 4 recipe cards to get you started. So 4 different recipes will also be included in the kit to help you get started. Now, this is excellent because you can make these products, or you can make products for your hair fresh. Okay, all the ingredients will be made by you and they will be fresh. It won't be something that has been sitting on a shelf or something that you don't know what's in it. It also helps you to educate yourself on what your hair likes. I also will release a video every week that'll show you how to make something using what's in this kit. Okay. It's only 3 herbs, but there are limitless possibilities on things that you can make. Now, you will need to buy some extra things from time to time if you don't have them at home, like a carrier oil, or you may need something like a strainer, or you may need like a measuring cup, things like that. And all of those things will be available for you to check out on my Amazon storefront. But as we are making different DIY projects, I will always make sure you have everything you need, whether it's what's already in the kit or if it's something that you need to buy, or, you know, an extra tool or something that you need. I'll make sure you know exactly what to get. And the amount of herbs that you are getting. So for example, the fenugreek, this is a lot of fenugreek. Okay. This is 50 grams. You can make so many different things with this. Most of the recipes that I upload, you're using like a teaspoon or at most a tablespoon. So you're not using a lot of those ingredients at a time. So they would last you a while. You should be able to make several different blends with that kit. Not everybody is a DIY project person, okay? That's how I even started this business, because I love doing DIYs and finding solutions to problems. So if that's not something that you're into, that's fine. I have products that are already made. All right. I've already done the research. That's why this product has been so effective for so many people. Okay. And then we also have the liquid version. So we have products that have already been formulated, have already been tested. If you are not a DIY person, that is perfectly fine. Okay. Aries Goddess, can you give tips on fixing hair loss from alopecia? So what type of alopecia would be my first question, because alopecia is really just a scientific name or a fancy way to say hair loss. Okay. There are several different types of alopecia. So that would be my first question. Okay. But to answer a question without having more information, I could only give you a general response. So I would tell you things like nourish your scalp with hair and natural treatments. Okay. Using herbal oils, using infusions, making your own infusions with that kit, of course, scalp massages, because I don't know if your alopecia is permanent or if it's, it could be alopecia from stress. It could be alopecia from tight hairstyles, which is traction alopecia. It could be androgenic alopecia. I don't know. Essential oils, of course, rosemary, which is included in the kit. Then you have peppermint oil. That can help with hair loss and hair regrowth. Cedarwood oil is great. We don't talk enough about cedarwood oil, but that is definitely a great essential oil that helps with hair health. All of the oils that I just mentioned are used in the hair growth treatment that I do make. Okay, so I make an all natural hair growth treatment or hair and scalp treatment called the Balm. Okay, all the ingredients that I'm naming are in that. So also, of course, we would talk about nutrition. Nutrition is always going to be important. I would recommend that you boost your protein intake. You incorporate key vitamins that are necessary, key vitamins and minerals that are necessary for hair health. Of course, iron, zinc, vitamin D. All of these can contribute to hair health. And then your hair routine, gentle shampoo, gentle conditioning, protective styling, maybe. It just depends on the type of alopecia. And then, of course, limiting your heat styling if you do that a lot. Managing stress, because you can have alopecia from stress. So, of course, I would say that. And then experiment with all natural ingredients. Have you talked to a specialist? Okay. Patience and consistency is going to be at the top of all of the things that I just mentioned. Because to understand alopecia, we have to assess what type of alopecia it is, what's causing it, and can it be treated, and then how. I know that was a lot to answer your question, but I hope that helps. Again, like I said, there's several types of alopecia. So when we use that word, we just have to be careful. I just want you all to be careful when using that word. Because again, you have the androgenic alopecia. That is the most common. It's hormone related. Then the alopecia areata. This is where you have round patches. So is it that kind? Is it traction alopecia? The telogen, that's the one that's related to kind of like stress, hormonal changes, and dietary deficiencies. Scarring alopecia is the one that is usually permanent. And as always, remember, you deserve to have hair that is healthy and growing, and it is my mission to help you get there. I will see you all next time.